This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a UFO news update. A lot of interesting stuff has come up over the last few years, but particularly about the last 48 hours or so. Obviously, for anyone that hasn't been paying attention, probably December 2017, I believe, the Pentagon released UFO videos, or UAP videos as they called them. They openly talked about a UAP task force that they have, which is a government agency that investigates unidentified aerial phenomenon, these objects that operate with impunity in our airspace, that show characteristics of, of things that we don't have and our adversaries aren't known to have. NASA has had a hearing on it recently. There's been two congressional hearings on UFOs, two public ones, and then there's been a private part to each of those that hasn't been released to the public. And now something new has come out, and there's been more than several mainstream media has covered this, and there's been an interview with the gentleman since this initial report comes out, but I'm going to review this report right now with you guys. And this is the debrief report on a former intelligence officer that has given a report to the Intelligence Community Inspector General Executive classified information about supposedly deeply covert programs that says that the government of the United States possesses retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin, which is pretty crazy. This officer has leaked the information which has up to this point, he says, has been illegally withheld from Congress, and he filed a complaint alleging that he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures. And these were reported by the debrief for the first time, but have since been picked up by mainstream media. Other intelligence officials, both active and retired, with knowledge of these programs through their work in various agencies, have independently provided similar collaborating information both on and off the record. This whistleblower, David Charles Gersh, who is 36, former combat officer in Afghanistan. He's a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and National Reconnaissance Office. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from July 2019 to 2021. From late 2021 to July 2022, he was the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency's lead for UAP analysis and its representative to the task force. So, very credible, decorated guy coming forward with his information. And they go into detail here about what the task force is for people that don't know, and how they've changed the name UFOs to Unidentified Anomalous Phenomenon, UAP. It used to be Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, but now they're finding a lot of these vehicles, possibly all of them, are transdimensional, so they can go in outer space, in our atmosphere, and underwater. So that's why they've expanded them into not just aerial phenomenon, but abnormal anomalous phenomenon. Sorry, guys. Apparently, this person has said that the government has recovered partial fragments up to intact vehicles, and this has been going on for decades up to the present day by not only the U.S. government, its allies, and defense contractors. This makes me wonder about the stories. Remember earlier this year, they did find a spy balloon, but then they sent missiles to shoot down 3 more unidentified aerial phenomenon, but they never showed us what those were, and one of them was even shot down in Canada. And then they just wanted us to forget about it, and nothing was ever really said more. I still find it hard to believe that they would send these missiles that I seem to recall they were worth about 700,000 each to shoot down these random balloons, and that they never bothered finding the debris. It all sounds very weird. Apparently, the person that filed the complaint is represented by a very credible lawyer, and this lawyer that's representing him served as the original Intelligence Committee Inspector General. So as far as this goes, it seems very interesting, and this is not destroyed vehicles that they've found. These include intact and partially intact vehicles. So in other words, they possibly have UFOs, similar to what Bob Lazar said years ago back in the 80s, that they're trying to reverse engineer. And apparently, this person actually participated in a security review at Department of Defense with the information he intended to disclose. So somebody at the Department of Defense actually approved this former guy that worked in this domain to disclose what he can disclose. From what I understand, I won't go through the whole thing, but he's gone through a process of allowing some of this stuff to be talked about in public. Other stuff and evidence he has been privately disclosed to Congress, because some of this stuff he can't disclose publicly for national security reasons. The Ragu overlord, they say that UFOs can shut down nuclear missile launching sites. Yes, apparently that is true. It's happened on at least a couple occasions, according to security officials. And for all those people that say, oh, that's nothing to worry about, that means they don't like nuclear war. Well, if there's any point in time where we're not allowed to turn on our nuclear missiles, that puts us in great danger if our enemies find out. And the other thing is Dr. Jacques Vallée, and I'll look up the clip right here. Anyone that doesn't know who Jacques Vallée is, he's one of the most world-renowned UFO experts, and he's been doing stuff with UFOs since the 70s. The character in E.T. There was a character in E.T. based off of him, but I'll tell you what he had to say. I'll post it right now for you guys to watch. He had to say basically that for the people that say that they're only here to protect us, and if UFOs and nukes were only there for peaceful reasons, there's been several times where they've actually turned nuclear devices on as well, and they haven't tried to shut them off. They've actually turned them on and almost caused nuclear wars.
Been reports of UFOs appearing in the vicinity of nuclear missile sites, I think maybe in North Dakota, for example, and disarming the missile launch mechanisms. If true, I don't know whether that's true, but I would think that sort of thing would be of great interest today to the military.
That is true, and it has been true in several countries, and there have been meetings that are known. I mean, this is on the record between the U.S. and first the Soviet Union and more recently Russia, because the Russians had the same experience, and nobody wants to. I mean, there may be a nuclear exchange at some point. Well, people are now talking about it, about Ukraine. It could happen. It would be crazy, but it could happen. And nobody wants to launch, an intercontinental nuclear missile by mistake. I mean, it may be launched, but there are. It was thought that there were guidelines to prevent missiles going off without anybody intending to launch them. And some of those incidents got the attention of all the security people worldwide, because if somebody can take control of a nuclear launch site, then a lot of regulations, a lot of precautions have to be redone. And of course, that's beyond my level. It's beyond the level of the people now looking at UFOs in Congress and looking. It has to be done at an international level where we can discuss it realistically with our potential enemies. And that's a very different kind of meeting.
I'm under the impression that in the popular UFO culture, which is something of a circus, there is a belief that these UFOs will save us from ourselves if it ever came to nuclear war, and that's what they're demonstrating.
I sort of followed that for a while, and sort of it would be nice to entertain that idea. The fact is that we came very, very close to nuclear war by accident 3 times, and those 3 times have been reviewed in great detail. There have even been movies about it, about accidental nuclear war, and those were real, and those were very scary. That has happened to several countries, but in the US it has happened 3 times, including one time when the system was at the high, the DEFCON classification, when the B-52s had taken off and had to be recalled. Now, that is, and there were no UFOs intervening to stop it. So it's a nice idea, but I don't think that they care that much about it.
Yeah, so I had permission to post that because I felt it was an important subject for anyone that hadn't seen it. But yeah, for those people that think that the UFOs are only there to turn them off and stuff, which could be bad for the countries that have them turned off, they have also been known to turn on nuclear silos and stuff, and it's caused mad panic and almost led to like severe international incidents. So a lot of people like to laugh at it, but very interesting matter. I'm no expert in it, but I'm very interested in it because now NASA is doing hearings about it. And now we have very credible people coming out saying that we actually have craft, not only our country, but apparently like other countries have it and are trying to reverse engineer this stuff as well. So it's becoming more and more real, and it's not fully out, but it's becoming more and more out. So maybe maybe it's getting to the point where like they know they're not going to be able to hide it much longer, so they may as well try and tell us before they have no choice to tell us, and just start leaking things out bit by bit. But yeah, frightening stuff for sure for some of us anyways. Have a good night, guys. And I put the link to that article in the description, and you can search it up. There's tons of stories on it all over the news.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it.